Your body is tired, but your mind won't stop. Here's why. Have you ever felt exhausted not because of what you did, but because of what you thought about all day? Your mind replays conversations late at night. It rewinds small moments from years ago, and it runs through situations that have not even happened yet. While other people seem to switch off and move on, your thoughts keep working. Analyzing, predicting, trying to understand. Psychology suggests this is not random. It can be a sign that your mind processes the world more deeply than most. By the end of this video, you will understand why this keeps happening inside your mind and why it was never a flaw. You do not just think, you examine everything. And that is not as common as it seems. While many people move through life on mental autopilot, you revisit conversations. You analyze decisions from multiple angles. You imagine future outcomes long before they unfold. Positive ones, negative ones, all of them. You may have heard that this means you worry too much, or that you should just relax. But psychology offers another explanation. Overthinking is not random noise. It follows emotional and cognitive patterns linked to deeper mental processing. You do not skim the surface of life, you move beneath it. When others react quickly, you pause to consider consequences. When others act on impulse, you simulate possibilities. When situations feel uncertain, your mind searches for resolution. You do not just want an answer, you want the right one. That difference alone shapes how you experience the world. Your brain runs on awareness, not autopilot. Have you noticed your mind keeps working even when your body is exhausted? Like your thoughts refuse to shut down at night. That is not accidental. It is a clue about how your nervous system processes reality. The next trait explains why. Habit 1. You constantly anticipate what might happen next. One reason you overthink is anticipation. Your mind is wired to forecast, not simply to react. Psychology connects this to future-oriented thinking and threat anticipation. In simple terms, your brain keeps asking, what might happen next? In earlier human history, imagining worst-case scenarios was not pessimism, it was preparation. That survival wiring did not disappear, it adapted. So when your mind runs ahead into the future, it can feel like anxiety, but it is also mental readiness. You rehearse situations before they unfold. You think through consequences others may overlook. That is not weakness, it is foresight. Habit 2. You deeply process emotional impact. Anticipation alone does not explain why you replay a conversation from years ago. That is where emotional processing comes in. You do not only think about what was said, you think about how it felt. You revisit interactions to understand emotional impact. Did someone feel hurt? Was something misunderstood? Did you miss an important signal? Psychology links this to strong emotional attunement and a heightened sense of interpersonal responsibility. While others move on quickly, your mind stays behind to process the ripple effects. That is why you are careful with words, with tone, with timing. This reflects depth of empathy, not simple insecurity. Habit 3. You process the world on a deeper cognitive level. You do not just notice what happens around you, you absorb details, shifts in tone, pauses before replies, subtle changes in atmosphere. Psychology describes this as deep cognitive processing. Your brain takes in more information than average and tries to interpret it. This is why mental exhaustion can appear even on days when little seems to happen. Your mind has been active the entire time. From the outside, this may look like hesitation. On the inside, it is constant analysis, reflection, meaning-making. Life is not experienced in broad strokes. It is experienced in layers. And this depth of processing is only part of the picture. Habit 4. You have a strong need for clarity and closure. You look for underlying causes. While many people tolerate ambiguity, you seek clarity. Your mind does not simply react to events, it evaluates them. It checks for consistency. It asks whether situations align with your values, your understanding, your sense of truth. That is why unresolved situations stay with you. Loose ends can feel physically uncomfortable, not just mentally irritating. Psychology links this to a strong need for cognitive closure. Your brain looks for coherence. When something does not make sense, your mind returns to it, not to create distress, but to resolve inconsistency. This explains why unanswered messages linger in your thoughts, why unclear relationships drain your energy, and why decisions made without enough information feel unbearable. This reflects a drive to create meaning, to integrate experiences into a larger understanding of how things work. Habit 5. You hold yourself to deep internal standards. You are often more self-aware than many people around you. You reflect on your motives, you question your reactions, you examine your blind spots. That level of self-reflection is uncommon, and it explains why you are harder on yourself than others are. When something goes wrong, you do not only blame circumstances, you examine your role. You replay what could have been done differently. You ask whether your actions were fair, kind, wise. This does not come from enjoying self-criticism. It comes from internal standards that many people never consciously define. When balanced, this becomes a foundation for growth, for ethics, for emotional intelligence. Here is the paradox. The same mind that creates insight can also create anxiety. The same depth that allows compassion can also create vulnerability. The same awareness that makes you thoughtful can also lead to mental fatigue. This is why simply stopping thinking rarely works. Thinking here is not just a habit, it is a core mental process. The mind explores, it connects, it evaluates. When that energy has no direction, it turns inward. Distraction may reduce the noise temporarily, but when things quiet down, the thoughts return. Not as a malfunction, but as the mind continuing its search for understanding. Overthinking, in this light, is not an isolated flaw. It is the visible side of a mind that anticipates, processes emotional impact, absorbs details deeply, seeks clarity, and holds itself to high internal standards. You were never broken. You were built differently. Which part of this felt the most familiar to you? The anticipation? The empathy? The mental exhaustion? The imagination? Or the high standards? Your reactions make sense. And from that meaning, self-understanding begins. And if you want to understand yourself and others on a deeper level, consider subscribing.